Aw, isn't it cute? Well, of course it's cute. It's a puppy. This is a golden doodle, just in case you're wondering what I have in my hands. So that's a golden doodle is a cross between a golden retriever and a standard poodle. And of course it's cute. Any puppy is cute. And that's the problem that some people have. You get caught up in the hype and you want one. But there's a couple things that you need to talk about first. And that's what I'm going to talk about with you right now. So as you just saw, I just had a cute little puppy in my hands, and of course the puppy is very cute. Now puppies grow up, and maybe you don't have the space for it, and you didn't really consider that beforehand, or you don't really have the time for a puppy. That's very important. You gotta have time for a dog. So what I need you to do is, if you have any family members or roommates or anybody you live with, talk it over. I've come across people that went out and got a puppy for their mother because it was Mother's Day. Really cute, and they may have had a dog before and you thought that she was ready for another dog, but you found out later mom was really upset because she didn't actually want another dog. She was done with it. Maybe she was getting older and it was just too hard to take care of a puppy at this time in her life. So it's very important that you just talk it over first. Don't just go out on a whim and buy a puppy for someone. Yes, it's very cute, but maybe they were just not ready. So please, if you're going to buy a dog for someone else, talk with that person first, because you don't want to just make it very difficult for the puppy to go away from their siblings, go to a new person that says, no, I don't want it, go back. It's very upsetting for the puppy. It can make them a bit sick or nervous, and it's just not right for the puppy. Now, the other thing is, if you are considering getting a dog for yourself or your family, then it's very important that the whole family is on the same page. Again, I've come across some people that they discussed it, husband and wife, talked it over. Oh yeah, dog, great. So the wife goes out and buys a puppy. She comes home and her husband's like, no, I wasn't talking about now, maybe in a few years. So yeah, this was a little bit of an awkward situation for her, of course. So it's important that you talk it over with your family members. Are we ready for a dog now? If that's what you want, do we want a dog? And can we take care of it properly? You don't just get a dog and look at it and just, oh, that's really cool. There's a couple of responsibilities that are very important that you take care of. Obviously, it's the feeding schedule. But you have to give it exercises and you got to give it attention. It's not a toy, guys. It's very important that you know it's a life and you got to look after it. So talk it over. One of the things to consider, are we financially able to do this? Sometimes people don't realize there are certain costs involved, like vet costs, of course, food. Maybe it's going to develop a health issue later in life. Are we able to take care of the dog by then? So those are a couple things to consider. Now, because this video is watched all over the world, I can't really pinpoint and tell you what it's going to cost. But I can tell you right now, you're going to have to look at, of course, the cost of the dog. Some people give it away for free. Other people charge a lot of money for a dog, so that's your first cost. You're going to have to get it vet checked. Stool sample needs to be checked. You got to give the next few vaccinations, of course. Then, of course, you got to buy some food, some toys, and as you will find out in the rest of the videos, you'll have to get a crate, which is what I recommend. I'm not telling you have to, but later in the videos, you'll see why I recommend this and how you can get your dog trained a lot faster. So those are a couple things to consider. The financial, of course, may be a big part. The other thing is, too, that once you get past that and you're ready, there's a couple other things you need to discuss. Maybe you don't really know what kind of dog you want to get. Often you have a bit of an idea, but is it compatible with your family? There are certain breeds that are really cool dogs. The one breed that just comes to mind is, for example, a husky. Bless you. A husky comes to mind. A husky's a lot of people like them because they kind of look a little bit like a wolf, right? Now, the idea with the Husky is they're more of an outdoorsy kind of dog. And yes, there are exceptions to every rule, but they're more of a pack animal. So they like to actually have another buddy to play with. So you end up getting two if you really want to keep your dog happy. So obviously, if you don't live in an apartment and they're an outdoorsy kind of dog, it's going to be a challenge. So consider that, consider the breed, do some research on the breed itself. It's very important that you know a little bit of background about the breed. Now, again, even when you visit the litter, if you go to a breeder and you find out that, you know, you have some more active puppies, and then there are some puppies that are maybe calmer. The calmer ones may also become active ones, and maybe the active ones can come a little bit calmer over time as well. So even within a litter, there's sometimes a little bit of a variation of activeness as well. So consider a litter. Consider a breed. It's very important that you do some research first before you decide on what kind of dog, of course, to get. The other thing is, what I find very important is that don't let your kids decide. Sometimes a daughter or son will ask their parents, "Can I have a puppy?" And you're like, often parents are, no, not yet. And then eventually they promise their children, and then it's time, because now the promise, you know, the kid is 10 years old and you got to go get a dog now. It's important that you don't just let your kid decide. Some are responsible. I'm not saying they're not, but there are some children that will promise you everything. But you won't always get what they tell you that they're going to promise. So as a parent, you're going to have to be the backup of the responsibility. It's very important that the parent is also taking part of it, or at least make sure that the child is living up to their promise. It can be, of course, you want to have the child or yourself. The dog needs to be walked, so it's either you or your children. Somebody has to feed the dog. Maybe grooming is involved, so you have to actually every now and then brush your dog or bathe your dog. Who's going to take care of it? Now, obviously, the most gross part, especially for children, is they have to pick up the doggy doo-doo. And that's usually left because they don't want to touch it. So are you going to do that? That's another thing to consider. So that's kind of the overview of this. So again, talk to your spouse or your partner or family member or roommate. Are we going to get a dog? Yes. Okay. Next step. What kind of dog are we going to get? You have to be on the same page, because you want to make sure that you can agree. And from there you can do your research on the breed some more, and then you come back to it and, okay, yes, we're going to get this kind of dog. Then you go look for the dog. You cannot test drive a dog. You can't just buy or borrow a puppy from the breeder, take it home for a few days and bring it back if it doesn't suit you. When you say yes to the dog, it's yours. So keep that in mind. It is going to be a very long commitment. Some dogs live over 20 years. There are breeds, of course, a lot less, but just keep that in mind. It could be a very long time commitment. So if you're like, oh, this is really cool, let's have a dog, but in 5 years you're like, I'm done. Don't do that. You're going to have the dog for a very long time. It's yours. It's like having a child. It's yours, and you cannot get rid of it. Just keep that mindset in mind, of course. You're going to be responsible for raising it and for treating it right. You're going to have to give it attention. You're going to have to feed it, love it. It's yours. Now, if you are not certain if you want a dog, instead of test driving a dog, maybe from a breeder, maybe go out to the dog park. Visit, a local dog park. Go check out some funny breeds and cute this and cute that, and see if you like it. If you have a friend with a dog, just ask, would you mind if we borrow your dog for a couple of days just to see how it goes? That might be an idea. If you want to test drive a dog, that'd probably be the best option to do. And of course, the last thing is, again, make sure you're financially able to do this, because the cost of the dog, mostly in the first year or so, you have the most cost. The purchase of the dog, a couple of vet bills in the beginning, spaying and neutering, of course, and then once a year you have the follow-up checkups, which is usually not so bad, but it's the initial purchase that may cost you a little bit up front, of course. So, all right, so that's it for this video. I will see you in the next.
Bye.